let's have a look at video effects. So I'm just creating a new project called Video Effects, and I'm going to add the footage I've been using so far. So I'm just going to get the bear clip for now, and I'll create a sequence from the bear clip. So for video effects, they're quite easy to use. Just going to my effects tab here, and you can see video effects there. Now I know there's one effect I want to use, which is the black and white effect. But rather than having to go through all these folders and trying to remember where that black and white effect is, I can go to this search box here, because I know the name of the effect, and just type in black, and okay, there it is, black and white effect, which is under image control. So there's two ways to apply an effect to a video clip. The first way is just simply to drag the effect onto the video. Okay, and I'm just going to go Control Z to undo that. The second way is to just double click on the effect. You pick the way that suits you. Double clicking is quicker, but you might just prefer to drag the effect. Okay, so that's when you know the name of the effect. Otherwise, you will have to go hunting into this video effects folder and pick a category which you're trying to utilize. So there's a many number of effects, and you can Google all of these or look at the Adobe help to learn about them. The most common ones, I guess, are the one I just used, the black and white effect. That's quite popular. And there's also the blurring. Let's have a look at those. Okay, so we've got the blur and sharpen. The Gaussian blur is quite popular. And what else we have here? Color correction, you can use those. Just a huge number of effects. Image control, so black and white, that's a very common one. Keying. So keying is for green screen. So we will be using keying later. You can just use a color key for green screening, or you can use the Ultra key. Ultra key gives you the most options. Some other effects which are popular, I'll just quickly go through these. We've got your adjustments, lighting effects. That can be shadows and highlights. You might want to play around with those. Channels, so for changing color and a range of other things. Distortions, you might want to use those. Lens distortion, warp, stabilizer. So that's good if you've got footage which is a bit shaky. So if you're using a handheld camera, you might want to use the warp stabilizer. And black and white, you've had a look at that. Perspective, basic 3D is popular. And I think where's lens flare? That's quite a popular one. I'm not sure where that is. Okay, lens flare. Might also want to use that. So I can add that one as well. So you get that lens effect, that's quite popular. So that's our basic video effects, very simple to apply. Just double click, find the one you like and double click. But let's have a look at these video effects in more detail. So with any effect, you can control how it's implemented, or you can change the options for it. So if you go, by default here you've got your source monitor. I haven't put anything in there, but I certainly can just by double clicking. But just go to the right over here and we've got effects controls. So you just have to make sure you've actually selected a clip with video effects. And here's all our controls. So it's not the most intuitive interface to use, but it's quite easy to use once you get a hang of it. Looking at lens flare. Actually, we'll come back to lens flare. Let's have a look at black and white first. What's happened to our black and white? It's come off. I'll just quickly reapply that. So black and white is not listed here in our list of effects. I must have undid it. So I'm just going to apply that black and white. Okay, so we have black and white with a lens flare, which looks a bit odd. But anyway, so here's our black and white effect. So we can control some of the options. Black and white doesn't have many options here. The only things it's listed to do, I've actually applied that twice. I can delete one of those. Black and white. So we can create a mask. So a mask is like, it's just a shape or just an area which you can choose to apply the effect to. So say you don't want to apply the effect to the whole video or the whole area of the video, you can use a mask. So let's just see how it works. Here's our mask, an ellipse mask. And there's a number of options here that you can use to control the mask. And you can just also drag it around here. So of course wouldn't use this ordinarily, although you might find some applications using an ellipse mask for black and white. And you can see that only the section within the mask is black and white. The rest has the color. So I'll just undo those, Control Z, Control Z. And you can use these other masks as well. So black and white doesn't have many options, but you might find those using masks a good option for something. Let's have a look at lens flare. Well, lens flare's got a few more options. You've got your mask again, and you've got your flare center. So I can play with these numbers to mess it around a bit. And let's have a look at flare brightness. We can change that. Actually, let's get rid of the black and white because it doesn't really do our lens flare that justice. Okay, that looks better. So yeah, wow, you can make it really bright or a bit duller. Probably don't want it on the bear, so we might move it across and upwards a bit. Okay, so you can give you that, I guess, that sun effect. Lens type, you can change all that. Okay, just play around with those options as you like. Blend with original, so that's, I guess in terms of, it's sort of like transparency really. Okay, and we'll just change that back to 0. What other options have we got here? Flare center, well that's pretty much it. After Effects has got a better version of the lens flare, so we'll be playing around with the lens flare in After Effects. Now what are these other things here? Time remapping. Okay, we won't worry about that. That's just really just controlling the speed, but we have other ways of controlling the speed. We won't really use that. Opacity, now we may use that. So opacity is transparency, so I guess the see-throughness of your layer. But really you need more than you need more than one clip, and you would have clips on different layers. So it's not, wouldn't do this normally, but let's grab another clip. Okay, so we've got the lake, and I'm just going to drag the lake onto V2 this time. Okay, so V2 has the video for the lake, and A2 has the audio for the lake. So let's go back to the bear. Okay, and we're going to change, well actually, we want to do that the other way. Okay, now I messed it up. How about I just start again? So I'm going to add the lake first, because the layers on top, we want the lake's on the bottom now. So 1 is on the bottom, 2 is above, 3 is above 2. So lake and then bear. Okay. So we want to make the bear a little bit see-through. So let's go to our effect controls. I've gotten rid of the lens flare now, but I'm going to change the opacity. So what happens if I change the opacity, if I reduce that? So as you can see, the bear clip is becoming transparent. And if we make it to 0, well, we don't see the bear clip at all. We see the lake clip. So that can be useful, definitely useful. If you ever use Photoshop, you can certainly think of some applications. We'll change it back to 100%. And what else have we got here? We've got motion. Okay, motion we'll cover it in the next video.